All right, looks like we are live, hanging out with everybody on YouTube and Twitter Live. We've also got you on Facebook Live as well. We'll let some folks get in. You guys know what to do. The early arrivals, you get here, you let us know the audio is good, the video is good. And then those people are watching on replay at this point, you can do whatever you want to on replay right now. You can engage, you can not engage. Whatever will make you feel better, really. That's what we're about on a Friday night. What will make you feel better? So we'll let some folks jump in. We get it going. A lot of stuff happening. Much wind in the wire again. Big 12 expansion. Certainly not going to be done with just Colorado. So it begs the question, as they once called a wonderful album, who's next in the Big 12? So we'll get some folks in. We'll get it going tonight. As always, those of you on Twitter and on YouTube, use the Raiderland text line. That's how you can communicate with us, 806-772-0197. The text line, make sure we see it that way. We use third-party streaming apparatus, so it's really easy to miss it. Sometimes we got all these channels going on. So use the text line, 806-772-0197. You can even use it if you're on Facebook Live. You can use it. Or you can use the talking box and type in there, Craig, the talking box is on. Craig is watching. James is watching. Simultaneous beverage sippage with you guys. Celia jumping in there today on a Friday night. We'll let a few more folks get in. Hope you guys have been very Texan this week. We'll find out the most Texan thing that you have done, whatever that may or may not be. You can tell us that tonight. Then we're going to look and see in the crystal ball. Come Monday, it'll be all right. Come Monday, who will the Big 12 be holding tight out of the Pac-12? Don't think it'll be anybody else out of the ACC, that's for sure. All right, are we ready to go? I think we're just about ready to go. Let's do this thing. In 3, in 2. Good evening, West Texans, all you good, fine, friendly folks out there who wish you were. I'm Ryan Hyatt, TheRaiderland.com. You start the day on the website, TheRaiderland.com. You find out the question of the day, what's going to be going on. You jump in on that. And then, of course, everything we do, we keep for you there at TheRaiderland.com. So think of that as where you go to start your day, finish your day, add your comments, and hit us during the day. We are coming to you from the Arctic Air Studios. Hopefully your air is Arctic. If not, you need to call the bear. Maybe you have managed to limp along your AC unit throughout the summer. Winter's coming too, we hear. And everybody's all excited going, yes, it's going to snow and everything. Hey, don't lift that thing along anymore. Get you a little well check. Call the bear, Arctic Air. Also brought to you in part tonight by Gators Bayou, one right there on Slide Road, 98th Street, patio check, great Cajun food check, cold beverages check. Say hello to our friends at Gators Bayou. Watch the games out there. Live music on the weekends and stuff. It's really good, and a fun Sunday brunch waiting for you at Gators Bayou. We're also brought to you by McAlpin Chiropractic. Good Red Raider, Kevin McAlpin, West Texas guy, Panhandle, Canyon, Texas. Good Canyon Eagle. If your back is out of whack, don't call a quack. Call Kevin Mack. Legally, not his slogan. Should be. Absolutely should be. All right. Text in 806-772-0197 if you're on Twitter Live or the YouTube channel. I want to thank everybody who's followed us on YouTube. If you have not done that, follow our YouTube channel, Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Do that. We're going for over 200 subscribers this weekend. That's the goal. So let's get over 200 subscribers on that. Fire away. Let's get it going. Let's get the comments happening. Who's going to be in the Big 12? We'll talk about the Yukon question. The Yukon question. Sounds like a particular maneuver or a policy we should invoke. And then whatever else may be on your mind. Yeah, it's time to ignore certain media members. Certainly. Now we'll see what's going on. All right, let's scroll back up a little bit. It is go time. Yes, Matthew, it is go time. We are going. Some might say we already went. Andy in there. Andy getting in early 2 days in a row. Test the most Texan thing I've done. For our English-speaking audience. Hi there. Organized moms to feed our football boys watermelon during two-a-days. That reminds me of the old end of two-a-days. This was a yearly tradition for Texas Tech football. It got started either in the 60s or the 70s. Went on through the 80s and 90s. I don't know how much longer it lasted. A couple of local farmers would bring out just tons of watermelons. And at the end of two-a-days, they'd have a watermelon feed, and they would take over. You guys remember where the old men's gym was? Did anyone have any classes in the men's gym? PE or anything like that. They had the pool. I ain't talking about the rec pool. I'm talking about the pool in the old men's gym at Tech, where it was about 5 bajillion degrees. You'd have to open the side door to get cross vent. And it was hilarious watching the offensive linemen do belly flops off the diving board at the men's gym at the end of the two-a-days in the watermelon feed. There you go. Good memories brought back. Gary watching today. James is in there. Two-a-days start on Monday. It's Texan and helmet sticker worthy. I don't think anybody's really doing two-a-days, though. I think they've pretty much been outlawed. I don't think we're doing two-a-days. You guys can text in on the Raiderland text line, 806-772-0197. Taylor watching, Michael in there. Andy was so fast, they had to clock you in the 40 with the sundial. David Collier's watching. Look at that. He might be still on the set. If you're there, tell Lauren we said hi. I figure Brian Mudd doesn't work on Fridays. He's like 3-day weekend guy, so I won't even bother. But I'm sure Lauren is a hard worker. Being a Colorado Buffalo, and I didn't realize she was like a complete native Coloradrian. Anyhow, she's a Buff through and through, and she's back in the Big 12. We're glad for it. So, what are we going to do today? Let's go Most Texan. Let's go. It became official yesterday. Colorado back in the Big 12. The league's certainly not stopping there. It's just a matter, will they take one more from the Pac-12? At least one more. If so, who will it be? They're going to take 3 more teams. All right? Let's just get on with it. They're going to take 3 more teams. Arizona will be one of them. I don't think Arizona State will be one of them. So now we start looking at Oregon. We start looking at Washington, perhaps. But does Washington come to the Big 12, or do they still hold out for the Big 10? See, Washington kind of thinks of themselves with Stanford and that Notre Dame and Big 10 Rose Bowl lineage. So who's it going to be? The teams out east, you can't get them until the grant of rights are done and the conferences fall apart. You're not going shopping in the ACC anytime soon. 7 years from now, 5 years from now, yeah. And we'll talk about what long-term is now in college sports, because it ain't 20 years. And it's why if Washington and Oregon want to come into the Big 12 for 5 to 7 years, you absolutely take them. You 100% take them. And if they somehow go somewhere else, wherever that else may be, maybe it's the Big 10, maybe we're all in a new thing in college football in 7 or 10 years. You don't worry about it. You be the best you can be for the next 5 to 7 years. So, Andy, I agree with you on Arizona. I don't think Pitt and Louisville are going to be coming to the Big 12 anytime soon. Soon, keyword. JC watching. Allen is watching. So who by Monday night, let's say by Monday night, who could be in? I think Arizona could be in by Monday night. Arizona saw and is seeing what is happening. The bus is filling up. And more people are looking at the Big 12 and going, that's a bus I think we can get on. A month ago, 6 months ago, Oregon and Washington probably weren't thinking still that the Big 12 was a bus they would get on. Now it's a bus they can absolutely get on. And I think Oregon is right there. Right there. Brett Yormark, is he creating demand? Is this supply side economics in action? Who was that? Was that Say's law of economics? I'm trying to remember my macro here. Are we watching supply side in a way? Not necessarily demand, a supply side. You have a limited supply. If you're the Big 12 of open spots, 31 million is 31 million. Gary says, met the natural Tracy saw at a tech function. Best trader of safety ever. It's right up there. He'll be the last person to ever be a 4-time All-Southwest Conference performer along with Doak Walker. No one will ever equal it. Him and Doker. If not the only two, it was Doak Walker and then it was Tracy Saul, the only 4-time All-Southwest Conference performers. Supply side. The supply side is what you have, and those are open spots in the Big 12. The Big 12 will take 4. I have no doubt on that. It's just a matter of who. I think Arizona knows they got to get in right now. Arizona State, I don't believe is coming. It is long established. Thank you, Jason Shear, Arizona 24/7. that Arizona State and Arizona are not joined at the hip in any form, fashion, or whatever. The Arizona State leadership pretty dysfunctional, and they think that just because they eat at the same table as Stanford and Cal, that they're Stanford and Cal. They're not, but that's okay. That's them. By the way, if you're just joining us, if you want to get in on the text line, jump in on that Raiderland text line, 806-772-0197. If you're on Twitter and you're on YouTube, that's how we can see your comments. Third-party streaming apparatus. We can only see so many comments at a time. Facebook, you just keep on firing away. You tell us the most Texan thing you've done. Tell us who you think will be in the Big 12 by Monday. By Monday night, I do think by Monday night we will know that Arizona is, if not full on, hey, we had the meetings, we did the deal. There are a lot of meetings going on this week. And this weekend, there you go. Will anybody else be able to move that fast? Oregon might be able to move that fast. We'll get to UConn in a minute. We'll get to where I think this thing can work in a minute. And when Brett Yormark, when you hear somebody including Brett Yormark saying, 14 teams kind of feels right, 16 kind of feels right, that doesn't mean that's where they're stopping. It's, again, Brett Yormark doing a great job manipulating the market. Andy says my picks for the Big 12, Arizona, Oregon, Pitt, and Louisville. You'll get two of those, I think. The other two, you'll have to wait on for a while. There's no incentive for anybody other than Florida State trying to get out of the ACC right now. They're not going to open up that Pandora's box. They're just not going to do it. And who's not going to do it? The networks aren't going to do it. The networks have a reason to kill off the Pac-12. The networks have no reason to kill off the ACC right now. They have no reason to renegotiate. They have no reason to do anything with the ACC. It's just not going to happen anytime soon. It's too unwieldy. So don't look for any Big East, ACC, any teams like that, I think, in the East right now. Raise right now. The scenario that I think is most likely, if we go down the road I think we are going on right now, and by all means, keep on firing away. Tell us the most Texan thing you've done this week. Share this, invite some people in. Do what you must do. That right now, the Big 12, first off, we got to get rid of our mind viruses of long-term thinking and, we don't want a team that's only going to be here 5 or 7 years. Yes, you do. You want the best 5 or 7 years you can get out of the contract, and then whatever contract replaces that in any form or fashion, you get a better contract. So get rid of the mind virus and go, if Oregon and Washington want to come in for 5 or 7 years, that's great. Welcome. Thank you. You'll get your money. You get to be here. And whatever happens at the end of that, we'll go from there. Big Ten's up in 2030. The SEC is up in 34. The SEC can open that beforehand. The SEC can pretty much do whatever it wants to. All right? And the networks and ESPN will do that. The SEC has that kind of power. The Big Ten just a little bit. And if we're still having these things called conferences in 7 years or 10 years, and you do lose an Oregon and a Washington that comes in, quote, short term, that's where you backfill with some teams from the East, because then the ACC does start to get dissolved. Then it becomes prudent for the networks to kill off the ACC, and we're going to ship Clemson to the SEC. North Carolina is going to go to the Big Ten. We're going to give some teams to the Big 12, and those are your 3 power conferences at that point. And they will do to the ACC what they're doing to the Pac-12 right now. SEC will break up the ACC when they want to, at a time and a place of their choosing. If 3 teams are taken, Arizona, Oregon, and UW, I think that's the Occam's razor. Arizona, sure, coming in, 75% sure Oregon comes. I'd bump it up to 80 right now on Oregon. Washington is rudderless, as are most of the Pac-12 schools, Chris, and it's not so much they're on the fence. They're just dumb. They don't know. They're paralyzed. Remember yesterday we asked the question, what's derailing the Pac-12? Is it ignorance or arrogance? It's a combination. The arrogance has fed the ignorance, and then they truly don't understand what's going on. They're truly our Board of Regent members, leaders at these schools in the Pac-12 that truly do not understand what is happening to them and why. Yeah, they do live in Seattle, some of them. Andy, Texas Tech University, the only school I care about. Good for you. And we're glad you're good. And we're glad you're here. Ethical egoism is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a very good way to live. Ethical egoism You can go Google that one. It's, I mean, I know everybody took several philosophy classes when they were at Texas Tech, so you're down with that ethical egoism. Debbie's watching. What she doesn't know is we're watching you, Debbie. Uh-huh. I get paid to be suspicious when I got nothing to be suspicious of. 806-772-0197 for those of you who are texting in today, whether you're YouTube or whether you are on Twitter Live. That's how you folks get in. Everybody else getting in on the Facebook Live comments as we go through. By the way, we're gunning for 200 subscribers on the YouTube channel. So if you hadn't subscribed to that, hit the subscribe button, get in there. David could send us 99 stars for 99 cents. Are we doing like we got a star drive or something? I know that thing is activated on our deal. I have no idea how it works. 0 stars received. Stars are enabled. I don't even know what that means. Chris, Dr. Skubanek is more of an expert on conference realignment than some of these Pac-12. All of those Pac-12 leaders. Dude, Dr. Skubanek gets it. He could be an AD, and I'm not just saying that. He doesn't just understand it. He gets it. He's one of the reasons the Big 12 held together. Dr. Skubanek, going back 2 years ago when Texas and Oklahoma announced their intentions to leave, Dr. Skubanek is one of the reasons why the Big 12 is still here. Trust me on this. Getting the mock turtleneck. Everyone follows us. Just keep looking in the mail. Well, as soon as we get those in, we're having supply chain issues. But as soon as we get in the Raiderland mock turtlenecks, you'll be first in line, David. If, in fact, your name is David. Yeah, Arizona was part of the old border conference with Tech back in the 1940s and 50s. They indeed were brethren, Texas Tech and Arizona, sparring many a time over the decades there in the old border conference days. 806-772-0197 on the Raiderland text line. We're asking you today the most Texan thing that you have done this week. What would that be? How Texan were you? We thank our friends at Red River Dreams, by the way, letting us use the Ski Texas, Republic of Texas print that they have. And you saw that on the website, theraiderland.com. No, you did. That's where you go every single day. Paul Smith, he's a good tech guy. He's got a lot of cool stuff if you're into that sort of thing. That's what we see playing out. I really do think by the end of the day, Monday, Arizona will be a de facto member of the Big 12. Oregon, I think, is right on their heels. And if Oregon comes, Washington will come. If Oregon comes, Washington comes. And that's the three. You're good with that. Now, the UConn question. This is where, make no mistake, the Big 12 leadership and Brett Yormark are in alignment. The alignment that they're in on is maximize revenue, strengthen the brand, make as much money as you can, and do it right. They're also on board with Brett Yormark. They're in alignment that basketball is going to be broken out at a certain time, become its own entity. And you won't have a TV deal that'll encompass football, basketball, and this. You'll have a football deal. You'll have a basketball deal. Andy doesn't want Washington. Nobody cares what Andy wants. You're going to get Washington, and you're going to like it. Utah do nearly anything to keep the Pac-12 alive. No, Utah wants the Pac-12 to die because they're more comfortable in a Mountain West setting, and I think they truly want the Pac-12 to collapse. They stay in it, believing that they'll still have a route to the college football playoff, and they will, and then they won't have to beat good teams. Utah's poor school. Their poverty program, poor mentality. They want the Pac-12 to collapse. It'll still be called the Pac-12, but they'll be playing back in the old Mountain West, and they're going to love it. That's what they want. That's what Utah really wants. You know, they're in alignment on the basketball front being separated. That's why Gonzaga will be a basketball playing member only in the Big 12. The difference between them right now on UConn is, do you bring UConn in full member or not? I don't think UConn will come in as a partial member, as a basketball-only member. So now what do we do? And we say, well, 14 is a good number. Well, but 16. Yeah, suddenly 16. Now you're going to need another school. If you bring in UConn, as a full-fledged member. And I think at the end of the day, they're going to look at UConn and go, we can make so much money off them on basketball. If we can bring another Power 5 in. You want UConn because you're going to make money off of on basketball, and you separate basketball contract from the football contract, and you make SCADs more money. That's why you want UConn. That's why you want Gonzaga. That's why you want Arizona in a way, too, on the basketball front as well. So now you're going, okay, 16. If you bring in Power 5 teams, the pro rata is going to be their equal for at least 4. The deal could be so much better for UConn, and the deal could be so much better for a few others that might get there. That's the UConn question becomes a bit vexing, which is why I think some of these Pac-12 schools are hustling, going, we got to get in before UConn gets in. Well, this is where Andy is not in alignment with Brett Yormark. Brett Yormark wants UConn. Brett Yormark wants UConn, and so far Brett Yormark has gotten what Brett Yormark wants. I would say get UConn in the fold, and here's why. Because in 7 to 10 years, when football doesn't exist at the NCAA level, and it's completely broken away from conferences, and there is nothing other than this major football, NFL-like structure, basketball becomes even more important. Get ahead of that. Own as much basketball as you can before the football stuff goes away. Acquire the pieces if the pieces make sense. And the networks will tell you if the pieces make sense. The great leveler in all of this right now is still the expanded college football playoff, and that's why if you're the Big 12 and you're getting pro rata, and that's already been discussed, and these teams that come in out of the Pac-12 will get equal share, and it is priced in. The value doesn't go down. The networks, the value of your package for what you're going to make does not go down if you're Texas Tech. You're not sharing a finite. You have an infinite from the standpoint of what they will pay bringing in. This is established. But the great leveler still, as we will explain why the guy writing for CBS Sports saying the Big 12 is only losing just slower now. They're not winning by getting Colorado. They're not winning by doing this. The guy completely misanalyzed it in the column we'll link to. What's the guy's name? Where is it? Where is this dude? Why is he so wrong? Hold on. I want to get his name right. Scrolling up. We're scrolling. Hello, we're walking. Tom Fernelli. Yeah, Tom Fernelli, you're wrong. Colorado's return to the Big 12 is more of a bandage than a long-term solution. All right, to save you the time, the gist of it, and if you want to text in, you can on the Raiderland text line, 806-772-0197, is that, hey, this doesn't help you compete against the SEC and the Big Ten. You're not competing against them. You're not competing against them. You're just being the best Big 12 you can be. You're solidifying your existence in the landscape, and you will maintain and have 2 spots in the expanded college football playoff, and that's all you're doing. The money gap is always going to be there to an extent. Now, that will go away in 10, 15, 20 years when we have a collectively bargained agreement, when you have salary caps, when college football broken out, operates almost exactly like the NFL, just at the college level. And then it won't matter. There will only be so much that you can spend, just like the Cowboys can only spend what the Packers can spend and then what the Bears can spend so poorly. You'll get 2 spots in the playoff. They'll get 2, 3, 4 spots, whatever. You're not competing against them. The playoff is the great leveler. There are still going to be players going around all over the country. That's not going to change. They've had more money than you. They're going to continue to have more money than you. The piece totally misanalyzes what you're trying to do. Andy, I don't think college football will be gone in your lifetime. I don't know that anyone said it was going to be gone in your lifetime. Certainly, I hope it's not gone in your lifetime. I hope you live a long time, too. Take UConn in 5 years with Syracuse if the ACC is breaking. Remember, UConn's not in the ACC. Just to clarify, in case anybody's wondering. So the expanded playoff's a great leveler. 7, 10 years from now, it really won't matter that much. But the Big 12 is not competing against the dollars of the Big Ten and the SEC. Not. And at a certain point in the future, it's all going to be leveled. There's only going to be so much that they can spend. And then, you're going to have to spend about 50% on your players. In the days of the lavish overspending on facilities and the overpaying of coaches and the overpaying, overspending on the reason the colleges spend like that on those things because they don't have to pay labor cost. Colleges will have to pay labor costs coming soon. UConn is nothing but women's basketball. Okay. Guess I didn't see this year's NCAA tournament. We got that. Regarding certain members of the media, this latest round of realignment should one more time be reinforcing to you who you should pay attention to, who you should not pay attention to. There are people, and I put myself in this category, we cover this every day. We deal with this every day. We know what we're talking about. It's fascinating to watch some traditional media and some others try to rush in here and analyze what's going on when they don't do it on a daily basis. They haven't done it for years, and they don't understand the landscape. They don't get it, and it becomes obvious when you read what they write or listen to them that their reasoning is grounded in failed logic of not understanding what's going on, which pretty much makes them Pac-12 administrators for the most part. Gary, was the Molina and White transfers to Arkansas a package deal? I don't think it was a package deal. I think it became much easier for Molina to go there with White being there. And then if Molina was looking to go, Arkansas is a pretty handy, logical destination if you're in this part of the world. So I don't think it was a deal of we're only going to take one of you guys and both of you come. I think it was just a whole lot easier that once Hudson White was there, for Molina to go, yeah, okay, that'll work out pretty good. Yeah, they were pretty good last year, weren't they, Bob? UConn, a little more than women's basketball. If Stuart Mandel were a conference, what conference would he be? If he were a conference, do I need to pick up a name or just like an existing conference? He would be the old WAC. Not like the current WAC, but I'm like the old WAC. Maybe, no, that's too good. The Big South, something, I don't know. If he were a conference, he would be the AAC, just disappearing every day, losing credibility, and losing any. I mean, trying not to pick on this guy, but he carried the water for a lot of people, and many people in the media are getting exposed for that. Knock yourself out. 806-772-0197. That's how you get in on the text line. If you're watching on Twitter Live and on YouTube, we appreciate everybody who joins us that way. Having a fun visit. A few more minutes left with you. You can tell us the most Texan thing that you have done this week. No, I got too much respect for the Missouri Valley Conference. Great history. When I was living in Amarillo and Canyon, WT in the Missouri Valley. Awesome basketball there with Indiana State. Grow up, you're getting to watch Mo Cheeks and Larry Bird. That was really good basketball. Didn't know it at the time. I was a kid. I didn't realize how good we had it there at the old WT Fieldhouse in the Amarillo Coliseum. Man, that was awesome. That was good. Remember that? Yeah, I remember that. So who's in the Big 12 by Monday night? I think Arizona by Monday night. If not like officially voted, everybody will be going, all right, yeah, they're here. Because they understand now what's happening and why. And they were, for whatever reason, so loath to make the first move. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but they just could not bring themselves to be the one. Dude, you weren't the one. USC, UCLA did it. Okay? Your hands were clean after that, but they're too stupid to understand it. Now they figured it out. So now Colorado's done it. Hey, it's easy. And then you go get Oregon. Washington, I don't care one way or the other with Washington. They can come, they cannot come. I do not care. In a way, I kind of hope they don't come. I think that they will. I kind of hope they don't come because I'd like to have a little bit more flexibility somewhere else. Do I think Yormark has given Arizona a deadline behind the scenes? No, he didn't give Colorado a deadline. He hasn't given anyone a deadline. What he has done is say it's a limited time offer. We're not going to take everybody. Take your chances. Do what you want. Wait on those mythical numbers that don't exist for a TV deal. Now, I'm not saying there's a deadline here at all, but at some point, we've only got so much room. Oregon, I'd put it about 75 to 80%. The Oregon UCF tennis matches, I assume in Salina, Kansas. Yeah, James Dickey going to West Virginia as an advisor. How about that? Good to see James out there coaching. Hopefully, he can work his cutting horses out there. He's a really good cutting horse guy. If you're kind of in the know and on that, good horseman. And he got done dirty by Texas Tech, so I love to see any success that James Dickey has. That'll be fun. Looks like a good role, those gigs, those advisor gigs. I need an advisor gig. I've said that for years. I could be an advisor. All right. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it tonight. We will have, as events warrant, broadcast if we need to over the weekend. Obviously, we'll have our 5 things we know on a Sunday column waiting for you. May have some other original content. Want everybody to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Ryan Hyatt's Raiderland. Obviously, most of you are following us on Facebook. If you haven't clicked the follow button officially, please do that. And then hang with us on the website, theraiderland.com. First people we say goodbye to, we have to say goodbye to the wonderful people on Twitter Live and on YouTube. So